we go.
Update 4 then?
Yeah, round 4 I think, yeah.
Round 4, let's get on with it then.
Yeah, we've got some goodies.
Good. Yes, this is goodie bag time.
Yeah, goodies.
Pay attention all.
Freebies, giveaways and some important news. Going back onto the Eon, when I did the direct debit indemnity clawback.
Now, for those that might not have seen the first few videos, can you explain what you did with that?
Yeah, I had a bill that I had with Eon about 2 years ago, and what they did to me, they took a lot of money out of my account without giving me 10 days formal notice. So they have to give you 10 days formal notice so you can agree it. Well, they didn't. They took quite a lot of amount. I think they took about £700 out of my account. So 2 years on, and what I've learned and knowledge I've gained, I did a direct debit indemnity clawback, and anybody can do it. But the bill genuinely has to be in dispute to do this, and I went on the incorrect billing that the amount was taken out on the 10-day notice being breached. So that broke the mandate.
And if you want to find out more about that, on Get Out of Debt Free, in the latest news, there's a couple of posts about the direct debit clawback, indemnity clawback.
So I phoned up my bank, and the money was in my account that same day, the end of business, which I was quite surprised at.
So then, once you've got the money back, what's the next thing you have to wait for?
What happened was, they'll obviously look through your accounts to make sure it's true what you're saying, because you can't just do it for the sake of saying, well, I'm not paying it, I want my money back, because they will look into it. And if you're not careful, and it's important, we must say this, if you do lie, you're perjuring yourself, and you are committing fraud. So be aware of that. If your account is genuinely in dispute, you've got no worries.
So once you got the money back, then how long do you have to wait?
Well, when I got mine, you have to wait. It's a month's process. You have to wait 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks is the company, whoever you make the indemnity claim against, they have 2 weeks to come back to me or to yourself to prove their actions on what they did was right in taking that money out. So they have to bring proof of claim. So that happened with me, and I heard nothing in those 2 weeks. So I phoned up my bank, and they said, well, you have to give another 2 weeks, which is called a counterclaim.
Okay.
So 2 weeks elapsed, another 2 weeks.
So in this 2 weeks, what did the bank say to do for you to do if they did contact you?
Oh, they just said if you receive any correspondence from whoever it is, the utility company, which mine was Eon, ignore all correspondence, because now the bank, if you like, is the arbitrator, the middleman, and they have to come to us now, the bank, not to you. I said, okay, so you want me to ignore? He said, yeah, ignore all the letters. So I had no letters anyway, none arrived, and after the month elapsed, I phoned back Halifax and said, have you heard anything? Then he said, no. Have you heard anything more? And I said, no, nothing, not at all. Right, the money stays in your account. But it's still in my account to this day, and you've got to understand that when people do it, and I've seen it in post, they get the money back into their account, but they spend it. And if they lose with the claims and the documents that are to-ing and fro-ing, and then the bank find in the favour of whoever you've done the claim back, they'll take the money out of your account. If you spent that money, now you're in the red.
Yeah.
So just keep it in the account, forget it never existed, and just keep it there. And worst case scenario is, worst case, if you have to pay it back because you were found you maybe were innocently wrong, you know, you thought you was right, but you were wrong in what you did, doing the clawback, what's the worst case? To take your money back.
Yeah.
So if you don't spend it, you just give it
lost
back.
anything.
Yeah. So that's what happened, and that month had timed out now, so it's time barred. And then about 4 days after that, that's when the threat letters started. That you've had this money, you've used the gas, you've used the electric, and you need to pay what you owe.
So what were they threatening in particular?
They were threatening to take me to court. They were threatening county court that legal action may take against me, proceedings may start against me. So I gave them a phone call. I phoned them twice actually, and I explained about the direct debit indemnity clawback, but they just didn't listen. They don't listen. And when you phone these companies up, they say legal department, but they're not legally trained.
No.
They're not even solicitors. They're just office administrative staff. All the solicitors, I think for Eon, I think most of their solicitors are down Coventry area, because with Eon they've got different branches all over the UK. I mean, where we are, there's probably 2 or 3 officers for Eon, but I think the main one that deals with the whole of the UK is down in Coventry.
Yeah.
And that's where their main legal team is. That's where the solicitors are. That's why when you phone up and say, can I speak to someone legally trained, there's a solicitor there, they'll always fob you off and say no, they're in a meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're not legally trained, these people aren't legally trained, and you must understand that. And don't be frightened of them either when you phone them up. The Gus there, yeah? So yeah, don't be frightened of them. And that's what I did, I phoned them up. Then I wrote off a bundle because all the videos we're doing the alternative method of the bills of exchange.
Yeah.
Negotiable instrument, because we're not liable. You must watch all the other videos under the Consumer Credit Act, section 123, paragraph 5. So I transferred it back because they sent me the joint gyro credit slip, and I sent it back, and they sent it back again to say that we don't accept that. Okay then, so I issued the notary protest, which we talked about in the last video, and the ball stops with them. But I made an important phone call last week, which will be played shortly. I'm not going to say too much on that because they'll give it all away with the goodies and the info that we've got. But when you hear the video, but not at the moment, we'll play it later on, but when you hear the video, there's three things I want you to understand about the bills of exchange on the previous videos that we've done. You can be the drawer, the drawee, the payee, and there's another one, you can be the endorser. And if you remember rightly, on the joint gyro credit slip, it's the corporate bank, the drawer, and the drawing, they are creating the money and they're writing you the cheque from your own credit account, because we've all got personal credit accounts. So my credit on my bank account, we've never got access to it. We're trying to find out how to get access to it, but everyone has their own private, if you like.
Interesting.
secret.
Some have been contacting me claiming they've managed to access it now, but they're not telling anyone how. So.
But my credit might be worth more than Mark's, or Mark's might be worth more than mine. We just don't know. But as I say, it's your credit. It's where the credit is. It's the credit that we make the money, really.
The one thing I can say is where the bonds and credit actually comes from is your birth certificate. And we know that at last count, the banks were paying £6 million for each birth certificate.
Right. As you say, it's your signature that's probably that you don't know. Those that are still learning, it's your signature's worth a lot of money. A lot of money, because it's your signature that creates that money. So that's what you need to get the grasp of as well, because that's how you operate in commerce, all back to the straw man.
Yeah.
So that's where you are, and that's why they keep coming. That's why you're in all caps on your debit card and on your bank statements and letters from the bank. It's all capital letters. So I phoned them up and explained that I'd not paid with a promissory note, and I issued a few documents that was posted in the last video of Eon actually trading in commerce with promissory notes, with the €450 million promissory note of a 7-year maturity value. So when it expired, they had to cough up, or they were needed to be paid. So it was left at that, really, and I heard nothing. It was just dead, and I just got that feeling. You know, when you get them feelings and you want to.
Yes.
So I phoned them up last week. It was on the fly, and I phoned them up. So, trying to sort of play the video now.
Okay, we'll play the audio with pictures and whatnot, and then we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Good morning, so it's the legal team. Do you have an account reference number, please?
Yes, I think my contact is it Robert Mann?
Oh, yeah, Robert's here. He's not on the phones today. Is that alright if I help you?
Yeah, that's fine. I've got a reference number. Do you want the reference number?
Yes, please. Confirm your name, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just got a couple of more questions and I'll be able to help you.
Okay.
We don't accept that form of payment. We only deal in cash, sterling.
Yes, I know that, but you said that you don't accept my form of payment, but what I've paid for was lawfully and with remedy under the bills of exchange as a negotiable instrument, and I've sent all the data off to Eon's legal team, and as of yet I've not had a reply.
Okay, I'm just going to put you on hold.
Hello.
Hello. I'm sorry to ask you this, but what specifically haven't we replied to? What letter? Have you got the letter dated with you? Have you got a copy?
Yeah. 7th of April.
7th of April.
And the 1st of April. Saying that you're going to commence legal proceedings against me, and I wrote a pack off. Then I paid with the bills of exchange, and then I got another reply from you on the 7th of April which to say that we regret we do not form that accept of payment and I need to pay this promptly. So then I sent you quite a few important documents because you're saying that, well, not you personally, but Eon was saying that they don't trade in promissory notes because it's not a form of cash. Well, I produced documents that it was. That was about a month ago. It'll be a month this Monday, and I've heard nothing from you at all.
I'm afraid I can't see those documents on the account.
Well, it was sent to Eon, and it was sent recorded delivery.
Okay. Do you have a receipt for the recorded delivery?
I have a receipt for all my recorded deliveries. Yes.
Is it one dated the 9th of April? I've got that. FAO Legal Department.
I've got one dated the 1st of April that was signed recorded delivery. Can't read the signature, it's just a squiggle, but that was delivered on the 1st of April at 8:48.
What office? Where did you address it
to Nottingham, Collier's Way.
Yeah, we're not based in Collier's Way. We're based in Trinity House.
Right,
so
well...
I don't know... Yeah.
Well, it was sent through anyway. I've got proof of postage.
Yeah, it's okay if you sent through. It's just that all I can confirm is we've received a letter dated the 9th of April from yourself.
Yes.
It says private and confidential, FAO Legal Department. You must pass this on to your legal department if you're not legally trained.
Yes.
Implied omission, absent response and compliance, and I don't know what that means.
That means basically if you don't reply to me and you remain silent, then you're agreeing in what I'm saying. That's a legal term and it's binding as well.
Okay, you're legally trained?
I'm a paralegal, yes.
You're paralegal?
I am,
okay.
yes. And obviously when I'm speaking to people, they're not legally trained. And it proved the point when I first spoke with a lady called Samantha, when I did the direct debit indemnity clawback on this account, and when Eon took quite a lot of money out of my account without giving me prior permission, they must give me 10 days formal notice. They didn't, they just took it out. This Samantha was asking me legislation. Well, there's no legislation. I can't quote the legislation because I'm not legally trained. Okay. And they said
you
they're
just
going
said you were. You said
no,
you were
there's a difference. There's being legally trained and paralegal. I don't hold any law qualifications.
Okay, so you're not a paralegal.
I don't hold any lawful qualifications. It's just what I've done in my own research, and I help people, and I'm quite up to spec on law and on the law and how it works on the bills of exchange for utilities. That's why I'm enclosing all these documents, and Eon aren't responding because I found them that they do trade in promissory notes. Because I've got one here.
What's your next course of action then? Because we're not taking
Well,
any legal action on this account. So
my next call of action.
What's your point of action?
Well, I've got one here.
What's your next course of action then? Because we're not taking
Well,
any legal action on this account. So
my next call of action.
What's your point of action?
Well, I've got one here.
What's your next course of action then? Because we're not taking
Well,
any legal action on this account. So
my next call of action.
What's your point of action?
Well, I just wanted to see.
Next?
Yeah, I just wanted to see where Eon were on this, and because of the letters, and they were threatening letters, they were going to take me to court. They've told me twice. I said, well, take me to court.
Yeah.
So then I submitted my bundle, not a legal pack, just my bundle of documents, because basically Eon is saying that they don't accept this form of payment. Then they're saying promissory notes, and I've said, well, I'm not paying with a promissory note. But then I've found out other information about Eon's on their accounts, and I've found information where Eon issued a promissory note for €450 million with a 7-year maturity value on it. And I've also got Eon doing business in commerce on other documents as well with promissory notes and bonds.
Okay, so what's your point?
My point is really is to see where I am in this situation and what Eon's going to do with respect to me, so I can move on and put it to sleep, put it to rest.
Well, at the moment, I can tell you the balance outstanding, as we've issued you now indemnity claims, so you've had the money back that Eon have taken.
Yes.
So the balance on the account stands at £2,719.83.
Yes, and I've already paid that, and I've also issued you a notary protest as well to dispute the billing.
How have you paid that?
On the bills of exchange as a negotiable instrument, which you refused.
You're not accepting it?
You're not accepting it?
No.
Oh, that's fine then. So my next question is, are you taking me to county court then?
No,
So there's going to be no further action?
not from the legal team.
Okay. So where's the further action coming from then?
I don't know all the end processes for Eon, but I think that would be it would probably be sent out to an external debt collection agency.
An external debt collection company, which are now third-party interlopers then, and they're going into my affairs, and they have no right to do my affairs. I also served a Section 10 data protection.
You're quoting things that don't make any sense.
To who?
I've told you what's going to happen. I've told you our position. Yeah? It hasn't gone to external debt collection agency at the moment. You're jumping the gun. And also, we wouldn't take any action without it being lawful.
Right, but all I'm saying is I've got to cover my bases and rebut your claims. All I'm issuing you is a Section 10 data protection because it stays with you as the company. You can't pass my details on to a third-party company without my permission. All I've done is serve lawful legal notices to you.
So have we.
You've served me no notices.
We haven't done that yet. That's why we haven't served any notice. In due course, if it's passed to a debt collection agency, then you will get due notice.
But if it's passed to a debt collection agency, you've already discharged the bill because you've returned them back to me, therefore the bill never existed in the first place. That's why I issued a notary protest under the bills of exchange.
Okay, well this is going nowhere.
Well, it is because I'm trying to get a remedy to the situation.
The remedy is the money outstanding, and the remedy is you've used the gas and electricity, you pay for it, and then that's the matter ended. But you pay with it something that Eon will accept, which is money.
So Eon actually in business then with promissory notes, that's all right for Eon to do that then?
I can't comment on that.
Well, I've produced documents to that effect.
Well, if you'd like to write again...
Well, no, I'm not writing again because I've produced quite a lot of documents and it's been a month. It'll be a month this Monday and I've heard nothing. But they were soon quick to threaten to take me to court in 2 letters.
Okay.
That's where I am at the moment.
I take your point.
So that's where I am. So I've come back and says, well, you're wrong in what you're saying because I've proved that Eon do operate in commerce under the bills of exchange. They have to. And it's
We're not accepting that.
And it's
We're not accepting that.
And it's
We're
not
not accepting that.
It's not. Well, if you're saying you're not accepting bills of exchange, how are people supposed to pay with cash or cheque? Because that's the bills of exchange.
So is that how you're going to pay then?
I've already paid it.
By cash or cheque?
I can't because you don't accept that form of payment. You just said you don't accept bills of exchange.
No, I didn't.
And it's
We're not accepting that.
And it's
We're
not
accepting that.
And it's
We're
not
accepting that. I didn't.
You've just said that. You've just said it.
I may have said that, but you're twisting my words.
I'm not twisting it because under the bills of exchange, cash, cheque, promissory notes, they're all part of negotiable instruments and methods of paying. And that's how the bill of exchange works today when people pay with cash or people pay with cheque or people pay with promissory notes. But if you're saying you don't accept that form of payment, then how do you expect people to pay with cash or cheque? Because that's the bill of exchange, that's how commerce works.
Okay, you didn't specifically say that previously.
Well, as where I stand, I've paid that in full. I've not refused to...
Debit card, credit card.
Well, I can't because bills of exchange, you said you don't accept that form of payment.
Okay, this is going nowhere.
Well, it is. All I want is a settlement of where you're going from this. I've proved that Eon operate by issuing promissory notes. Clear as black and white, I've sent proof. Because it's not Eon that issue the joint gyro credit slip to everybody. What have they done, Wes? Has she cut me off?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, I'm just going to put you on to my colleague Nick.
Okay.
Hi there, you're through to Nick on the legal team. Sorry, can I just ask how to pronounce your surname, please?
Fine.
My colleague Fiona's, I'm sitting next to her and I could overhear the conversation.
That's fine, yeah.
I've got quite a lot of experience with dealing with people trying to make payment with the promissory notes, accepted by value, things like that. And so I thought it prudent that I have a quick chat with you. I can see from the notes on the account that you've made attempts to make payments with promissory notes and things like that, and we've sent letters back to you telling you how to make payment. The short version of our position is that you receive invoices from us. Those invoices detail how payment is to be made, and they are the only acceptable payment methods available to you. I can see you have made payment in the past in correct manners, so you are aware of how to make payments. Our position remains pretty much exactly as what Fiona's told you. You know how to make payment. You need to choose one of those methods within which to make payment, and if you don't, we're going to take legal action against you. I'm going to tack on something to the end of that, which is the fact that I've been in court on cases where people have tried to use the same defence within which you're trying to make payment, and none of them have succeeded.
Right.
Do you think there's anything further to discuss?
Yes, I do. Quite a lot to discuss, because I've not paid with a promissory note.
Okay.
And I've not.
Are you going to make payment via one of the methods detailed on your invoices?
No, because I've already paid it. I've not refused to pay it. I've already paid it and issued you documents. You see, is it Fiona I was speaking? Was it Fiona I was speaking to?
It was.
Yeah. Well, when Eon sent me a letter to say that they don't accept that form of payment, and promissory notes, which I've not paid with a promissory note, and it was Lord Denning that said that you treat promissory note as cash, but I've not paid with that.
Yeah, that's all nonsense.
It is. You must check. You must check it, because
I don't need to check it. I've been to court. This is what you don't understand now. I've been to court in front of judges.
Yes.
And I've countered these arguments in court, and I've been successful every single time.
Okay.
It's nonsense. It's an internet fallacy.
Is it? That's why there's a guy I already know that's paying through that method with Eon up north of the country that went to court, and Eon.
No, I think your friend's probably pulling your leg.
Do you think so? Would you?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, if that's your opinion.
Yeah, it is.
So
I fully believe that.
Okay, if that's what you think, that's great. But under the Consumer Credit Act, Section 123, Paragraph 5, it says for non-commercial agreement. It's only people that operate in commerce, companies, that use the resources, that need to pay for it.
I'm not going to get into a protracted conversation over this.
Okay, well, I'm telling you then.
Position clear.
Yes.
You need to make payment, or we're going to sue you. And I can guarantee you that if you try and defend, or try and get out of it making payment in this way, you will lose. I can guarantee you that.
Okay, I'll hold you to that then, sir.
Okay.
I'll hold you to that, and I've paid it with remedy. It's you that's refused it by sending it back. I've made a notary protest, and I won't be paying any more because I've already paid it, and you've discharged it under the bills of exchange because you've sent it back to me. So therefore, the alleged debt never existed in the first place. So I've said it in the last two letters.
If you believe that, then when we sue you, put a defence in.
My defence is already ready.
And then we'll have a county court judge decide who's correct, okay?
No, that's fine. My defence is already ready. My legal pack's ready to go. I've asked you to take me to court on the last two...
Yep. So you're happy with us raising a claim on this today, are you?
Oh, I'm very much happy, so, yeah. That you can... Right. Because I've already asked and I already sent documents to the legal team. Which has been 3 weeks ago, and I've heard no reply yet.
No problem. I'll make sure that you get sued today, then.
Please.
Yeah,
please do.
Anything else I can help you with?
No, that's fine. So you are going through legal action?
That's correct.
Okay, I'll just let you know as well that this telephone call has been recorded.
Well, number one, you're not allowed to record a call without someone's consent. But number two, I don't care anyway, because everything I've told you is factually correct, and so I don't mind you recording the conversation. You have my permission after the fact.
I don't need...
Which is something that in future you need to obtain before, but whatever.
You don't need permission when you're phoning from a private property.
Again, I think I have a lot more legal knowledge.
Okay, you have a lot. You don't, because you have no concept of the bills of exchange. But okay, I'm looking forward to court action.
Huh?
I'm looking forward to the court action, and I'll prove you wrong.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, please proceed with legal action then, because you threatened in 2 letters that you are. But as of yet, I've heard nothing.
All right, no problem. I'll make sure that you get sued today. It just seems a strange request. Not many people ask us to sue them.
No, because I know my argument's correct.
What you want, we'll make sure that happens.
Please do, because I know my argument's correct. All right.
Can I help you with?
No, that's fine.
All right, you have a good day, and I'm sure we'll meet one day in court.
I hope so.
All right,
see ya. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. You've heard the audio recording, and I know Mark's heard it. We keep saying that we will need to get to county court, don't we? And
Yeah.
people say, well, why do you need to get to county court? Well, hopefully that telephone conversation that I made
Yes.
would tell you there that it was categorically said, do you agree that we're not going to county court?
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be no legal proceedings from the legal team.
Although when Nick came on, he tried to insist that, I'm the
Yeah.
I've been and I've done this.
Yeah, a bit of a bully boy, and I find it quite funny. He said that the promissory notes from Lord Denning's total nonsense,
Yeah.
internet fallacy, and see, these people are the legal team. These are the legal team I was talking to, and then it was like, well, I issued a notary protest. Well, have you paid for that? You can't pay with a notary protest. It's just protesting the bill.
They just haven't got a clue.
No. And if you notice when I said, if you remember about the draw, the drawee, the paying, and the endorser, because it's the corporate bank that's giving you that credit, I was trying to explain to her that it was the corporate, but then she hung up on me, didn't she?
Yeah.
And I had a witness listening as well, which was Wes. He was listening in as a witness, because I had a witness as well, listening out. And I thought they'd cut me off.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when Naughty Nick, Nasty Nick came on, bit
Yeah.
of the bully boy. And, well, I'm sure that he heard I thought he was quite threatening, quite aggressive, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
But it was very nice for him to give you permission to record the call in the end.
Yeah, but
even though you don't actually need that permission.
No.
But hey ho.
but it's when I told him I was recording, his tone changed again.
Yes, I
And
think. And I'm sure if you listen to it again, you'll hear that his tone does change from when he realises he's being recorded.
Yeah, and he didn't like that. But then he's just saying about promissory note, and he's been to court, and he's heard all this before, and you haven't got a chance. And I promise you, threat, I will sue. We will sue you. So I said, well, take me to county court then. I've already asked for it twice. You've already written to me twice. I'm saying to you, then take me to county court. But then she said, remember about the pay the door? She said, we don't accept bills of exchange.
Yeah.
But that's when I said, well, how can we pay with cash or cheque?
That's where I looped it a couple of times, so you can hear her saying, we don't accept that, we don't accept that, we don't accept that. Well, if you don't accept it, there's no way to pay.
So if you can't pay with bills of exchange, which I clearly said, she said we don't, then how are you and how are we supposed to pay with cash, cheque, promissory notes or negotiable instruments? And I keep saying it's key, it's how commerce works. And then she said, well, you didn't say that. I said, well, I did. And then she said, you're twisting my words. And I said, well, and you can I never twisted her words. I said what I said. And then she says, we're not accepting it, debit card or credit card. And I said, well, I can't, because you just said you don't accept that form of payment. So I was and that's when you could hear her say, God, on the phone. She went, God, like that. But she was unprofessional. And that's when I thought she'd actually hung up on me. And that's when bully boy Nick came in.
Yeah, Nasty Nick.
And that's how it was, and that's how it's ended. So that's proved that what we're doing is right, really, isn't it? What we're saying now has got some weight, really.
Yep.
There's something in what we're saying. But we're continuing, we're fighting it, and we're not going to let it go.
We actually hope they do take us to court, because it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and I will promise that we'll keep you updated on that case, as and when, but only when we get the
And
info.
just if you're listening, we will be defending.
Yes.
And maybe something else as well, but I don't want to give the whole game away, do we?
No, we don't show all our cards, do we? But yeah, you've got to watch this space for this one. But if anything does happen, we will defend. And like you say, we may do something else. But we don't want to let the cat out of the bag and show us
Not
our
just
cards,
yet,
cards too much. So that's where we're there. And if you're going to phone up, what we say as well is, if you're not sure what to say and you don't understand the concept, don't phone up if you don't know what you're doing.
Listen to the audio again and again, so you get clear what we're saying and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then, as long as you stick to those points, you'll tie them up in knots, as you saw in the audio.
Because if you don't understand it,
they'll tie you up.
Yeah, they will tie you up.
Don't forget, they're working from a script and they're trained to deal with questions all day long, just not when others know how to ask the questions back and point out the errors of the ways. They have to come off script then, and that's when they start panicking.
Yeah, and the one thing to do, if it ever goes, and it's the word if it ever goes to county court, they can, and then you have to follow it through, like we said, and you defend your claim, you defend it, you rebut their claim, so you bring a defence in. It's always important as well, get your documents in order.
Yeah.
Be be disciplined, if you like, in what you do and get your documents in order of what you need, which is your legal pack.
So I mean, it basically needs a little bit of looking up, reading things, and getting the knowledge of what paperwork you've got to fill in, what boxes you've got to tick and whatnot, just so that the judges like just looking at it and it's all filled out for them. They go, oh, that's great, I haven't got to do any work, I'll just give me a judgment after we've heard what's got to say. And the judges like that, so just bear that in mind.
And if you do a legal pack and it does go to county court and you give the judge theirs well in advance, you can tab your keys, your prompts, if you like, where you're pointing to. So
like on each paper, there's a particularly relevant part you want. Put a little sticker on there so that you know where to. Don't give that to the judge or anyone else. That's just for your personal quick reference. Oh, there, that's what I want to say.
But your job's not to help them.
No,
that's bringing the claim, if you like.
In fact, I've seen it many times where they've come to court and they've dumped a big pile of paperwork on someone and left them to, and this is literally before the court, which they're not supposed to do, and then they've got their pile of paperwork and it's tabbed all the way through.
Yeah, they're not there to help you. You're not there to help them.
Exactly.
There it is, here's my pack, and that's your job. It's not my job to go through it.
Yep.
But some people actually tab it. I've heard some people do tab it for the judge as well, because he's there hopefully to help you, but you're not there to help them.
No.
And I think that's it about in court. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. If you ever get to county court as well, or not just county court on what we're doing now, what we're talking about utilities, but it could be anything else, always get the knowledge and the understanding what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't just say, well, Mark and Kevin said stick the stamps on and I don't have to pay it because I've watched YouTube videos.
Yeah, that won't get you very far.
It won't get you very far, no, because the judge likes to see that you've got an understanding of what you're talking about, so he knows where your knowledge is. Because when you're going in, we're not legally trained, and don't use legalese words. Just say it as it is, really. You don't need to use because we're not legally trained. But he will see that you're showing intent, and if you can show that you're showing intent, he's going to think, do you know what? This guy knows. I can see where he's coming from, and he knows what he's talking about. He's not quite got it, but I can see his intent there, and he's nearly there.
And what that actually means is, before where you're just going in and you're all over the place, you're acting like a kid, so they treat you like a kid. Whereas if you're going in organised, knowing what you're talking about, and you've got your stuff in order, it's like, wow, you've actually grown up, we'll treat him as a man then.
Yeah.
And that's all you ask for, that's all you need.
Yeah, so that's just a couple of updates on myself, and we think we might have a remedy for the prepayments.
Yes. I think we're going to have to tell them, aren't we?
You think so?
They're going to want to know. I mean, those that's been battered by it.
Right.
Of course, this isn't
not out yet, is it? It's not really. It's
no,
in process.
And it would be for you to do the work.
Yeah.
We're just giving you how we see things should be. It might not work, but it should do. From what we've looked at.
It should work. We're getting a lot of posts now, and even on your YouTube, and I've read some as well. They're saying, well, they've fitted me prepaid meters. How can I get them out? If you're in debt, alleged debt, and you've got prepaid meters, it's quite hard to actually get them out, in theory, because once they're in, they're in. But if you move to another property and you didn't have that debt, you could ask for those and you as a new landlord or a new tenant, you could ask for those prepayment meters we've taken out.
In fact, if you do move to a new home and the prepayment meters in, you definitely must get them taken out, because the debt that is at that property stays there and you'll end up paying it.
Yeah.
As I can attest to.
So this is another case again, and it's Alonso. So Alonso, he's down south, and he's got quite a few medical problems. He's got a few health issues, but basically on his case, and this is where we think we've got a remedy to get your meters taken out, your prepaid meters. But you've got to do the work. We can't do it for you. You have to do it. He went to court, and when he was in court, he actually told, no, he's in a proper court now, he's not in a close, he's in a proper court, right? So he's in a proper court. When he went to defend it, he actually said he was a vulnerable person and had health problems. So the warrant was withdrawn from the magistrate as we know it.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said to them, send me a bill and I'll discharge it in full. The magistrate went, no, send the man the bill, send it in. I'm going to adjourn this case, you send him the bill. They didn't send the bill, his energy company. So what happened then, he went back to court, and in a nutshell, they gave a nice, because of his health problems, remember, because of this nice presentation that their team did, the energy company team, that they can monitor his health and they can monitor him because we're going to fit smart meters and we can know when the credit's low and whatever, and we can do it. But they failed to say that his smart prepayment meters needs the old Wonga. You need Wonga in it to keep the credit on. And if there's no credit, they can't create the credit and stick it on. You need to put credit in it. And he actually lost his credit one night in the evening, and they categorically said in the court that they won't let that ever happen. Well, it did happen.
And he needs the electricity for the machines that
to do his
he lives on.
So that happened, and what they did, they went for a warrant then. But the warrant that was issued at his property, when they came to his property, the police were present as well. The police actually arrested him, took his keys off him, his house keys, got into his property, the smart prepayment meters were fitted, and then he was de-arrested. He asked for the warrant. Now, I know Mark's got the warrant. We'll try our best to get the warrant within the video that we're doing now. It was the gas agent that actually served that warrant, and I've mentioned it in another video. But the actual warrant itself, when you look at it, it has nothing to do with the court.
Yeah.
Nothing to do. It doesn't even have a date of when the warrant was applied for within that court, so-called court. And at the bottom of the warrant, it's even got the energy company. It's their own warrant.
Yeah.
And it was a justice of the peace that signed it.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. And that was signed in black ink. But they must sign below that to say that they confirm so they authorise it that my signature was signed on X date with the same colour ink. It was a gas agent that signed the date in blue ink. That was naughty. And obviously he asked for the copy of that warrant, and they would give him that warrant.
So there's something else for you to bear in mind. If it's a legit warrant, they must always leave you with a copy of it. If for any reason they're not showing it or refusing to leave you a copy, it's a fake warrant that they've issued themselves.
Yeah. So then we brought him in and helped him along the way, and it was only last week really, again it was another light bulb moment, and I thought, did he ask for the other warrant? And he asked for a copy of the other warrant about a week after he'd been arrested, and the court actually emailed him a warrant through, and it was obviously the same justice of the peace, but the two warrants were different. A lot of irregularities. This one was served with no court paperwork, no seal, no nothing. It was just like you typed a Word document, and it had the old, like the Northampton Port crown stamp. I don't think it even said court on it. It was just a crown in a circle with a crown in it. But at the top of the one that came from the court, it said in the local justice area of, and then the area where he lives. And because I've seen this before on another case that I helped, and his was the same, in the local justice area of. And I've seen one in Cheshire, exactly the same. I told him to actually phone the court up and confirm this. And he made the call, and he said, have there been any warrants issued on my property on the day of this warrant was served? And the courts have said, no, there's been no warrants served from this court. So it's a case of, hold on a minute, well, a warrant was served.
Well, an alleged warrant.
Yeah. And at one point they did admit that they're done in bulk, a bit like the council tax.
Yeah. So breaking court rules there, because every case is supposed to be heard on its own merit.
Yeah, biased and say on its own merit. So they actually said, well, it's done on bulk. Then I think they changed it. Well, no, it was stamped, so they tried to deflect from the bulk thing. So we've asked for the justice of the peace that signed that warrant. We've actually said that, well, the warrants are forged, and they've actually passed it on to their court legal team. So we're waiting back from their court legal team, because what they've done, that gas agent's committed perjury under the 1911 Perjury Act. He's committed perjury. They've committed fraud. 2006. They're in breach of the Protection from Harassment Act 1997. because they've unlawfully arrested him and served fraudulent court instruments, basically. So what we've done last week, we've done a letter before claim. Because of his health problems, he's gone to his doctor, and his doctor's wrote a nice transcript, if you like, because his doctor's concerned as well for his welfare, to get these prepayment meters taken out and put the other ones back in. So we've done a letter before claim. We've given them 7 days notice now to comply and show substance and what they've got to say, because he has been replying to, corresponding with him over time, over weeks, because this happened in January.
Yeah.
And they're just they're just ignoring him, they're just not writing to him. So enough's enough. We've done a letter before claim, and so we're exposing the fraudulent warrants. I think you're really supposed to say false court instruments, but we're trying to get those. So that may be a remedy now to get your smart meters taken out, because they're following incorrect procedure. They're using abusive court powers.
Let's just explain there. That's where they've not left a copy of the warrant, and if they haven't left a copy of the warrant, that's because the warrant's fraudulent, most likely fraudulent, because if it was a real warrant, they have a copy that they are supposed to, under their own rules and regulations, leave with you. Even if they break in when you're not there, they're still supposed to leave you a copy of that warrant. The fact they're not doing that suggests that the warrants are fraudulent.
Yeah, well, in fact, we know they are, because we've had another court confirm that it's not a court matter.
Yeah.
But they don't like to give the name, you see. So it's fraud. It's basic fraud. So we're going to see what the legal team says and see what the court come back on this, because it's...
Well, the
court's
is guilty here because they're letting them hire the room out and basically pretend it's a court.
And she actually said it's the court. It's the utility companies that actually issue their own warrants. Yeah. She actually said that. And if people don't know, they're not savvy to this bit. These justices of the peace, they work in private capacity again, so they get paid. So it's like the council tax. You go into a courtroom, it's not even a court, it's just an office, but they're paid. They're in a private, and they're actually being paid by the council as a sideline, if you like, from the normal court.
And interestingly enough, later on today or tomorrow, I'll be putting a little conversation out about that, where someone actually admits it. Naughty Equator.
Yeah, that's interesting. So they actually admitted it's the utilities that actually are issuing the warrants. And when I looked at the bottom of the warrants, both warrants had the utilities address, PO box number. Now, you never get that on a court warrant. I mean, it's owned by the court. It's the court. It comes from the court.
So in effect, it's not even court paperwork.
Yeah. So there's a lot of irregularities in it, and you must challenge it. We say we can't force you to do it. You've got to phone up and do it yourself. And don't bother talking about legalese and that. Just say it as it is. Just write it out. Only you know your case, and just write it out as it is. In a logical order from start to finish. But the key points is you need to know the justice of the peace. You need to know if there's any warrants been served on your property from that court. Let them tell you. Don't you give it away. Let them tell you, and let them see what they have to say. Then you can say, well, that's funny because a warrant was issued on this property. And now you're saying it's not a court matter then. So who's actually issued it? And this is where we're opening a can of worms. So we think this is where we can get a remedy now on smart meters, prepayment. Yeah. But as legislation goes now on smart meters, if you weren't in alleged debt, smart meters actually need your consent to be put in, because there's quite a lot of health hazards with those, isn't there?
EMF.
It's all Wi-Fi, isn't it? It's spying. You can spy on you. It's all these rays emitted and stuff like that. And it's been proved that it's not good for you.
Yeah.
But it's consent, and I think under legislation now, it's not even been passed yet that they can be put in. But what I last read on, I think it's 2020 rings a bell that they would like the whole of the UK to be on smart meters. Not necessarily prepaid, the smart meter, but then again it requires consent. But they say they're not going to force it on you, but they really want to.
They're going to attempt to force it on us, that's for sure.
But it's consent. You don't have to have smart meters. But they're spy machines, aren't they, really? They're just spying on what you're doing, because it's all through Wi-Fi and SD, SIM cards like your mobile phones. Yep. So they know what you're doing. They know your lifestyle. They know everything.
And many are suggesting they emit a dangerous level of radiation as well. Yeah.
And we've submitted all that as well in the letter before claim. So we're just waiting to hear back from that. So there's a few updates for you since last week when we did the one. You've heard the telephone call. It's just a waiting game. And, I mean, I don't know yet. If Eon want to take me to court, then we're going to defend the claim in full.
If they do, I suspect it'll probably just be the bulk centre anyway, because they won't want to take it to county court.
Well, no, but they say county court, but it's not the county court that people. And once they go to county court, they can't bring the claim back. If they withdraw, they can't bring it back. You only get one shot.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware.
And then if that sort of thing happens, you want to be filing harassment against them then if they try doing it again, because I've heard of them where they do try it again, and that's harassment.
And what you can do there, you can defend your claim and also put a counter claim in as well. So now they've got two choices now. They either fight the fight and attend the court, or don't turn up and settle out of court. But if they don't turn up anyway, the judge will award in your favour, plus expenses, plus your time, plus your petrol, to get
everything you've
plus
done.
your receipts for your folders, your paper, your ink, your pen, everything. You can claim it all back. So.
Debt Free TV, in association with GetOutOfDebtFree.org.